My top boss, did you know that different cable sizes have different resistance on them? And that is the reason why for you to select a certain cable for a certain circuit, the size of the cable must be considered. When we talk about size here, what are we talking about? We are referring to the cross-sectional area. One of the contributing factors when it comes to electrical hazards, which is a nightmare for many electricians, is definitely resistance.
Yeah, sure. That's a smart move.
Very costly.
When we talk about resistance of a cable or of a wire, we are talking about the resistance to the flow of current in that cable. Different wire sizes have different purposes. The reason why you use a certain size and not another is simply because of the circuit that you are connecting that cable. My top boss, smash the like button on this video if you are ready to learn about our today's topic, which is definitely the size of the cable. And does the size of the cable matter when it comes to electrical installation, either for business or domestic? Let me know in the comment section, my top boss. Also, I will appreciate if you mention the name of your country where you're watching me from. But why is the cable size a very important thing when it comes to electrical installation? It is simply because when the cable is bigger in the cross-sectional area, it means that it can be able to allow electrical charges to flow through it without any resistance or hindrance. The smaller the cable, it means that the higher the resistance, because the current is straining to pass through that provision, which is a smaller cross-sectional area. This is a cooker unit, and so from the consumer unit you find that it is supplied with its own MCB as well as the cables that connect to it. Why is that very important? Is so that the circuit that is dedicated purely for the cooker unit serves the cooker unit alone. In many cases, you find that if this top plug is connected or fed directly here, and then it is from an electric cooker which draws a lot of current, you find that it will start overheating because of the loose connection. That definitely leads to a very, very bad experience whereby at the point where the customer has to change everything, which is plastic, you find that this is plastic, this one is also plastic, you find that they are glued together and the only option is to knock them off or destroy them. You find that the customer will have to spend when it comes to the plug, spend when it comes to the cooker unit, as well as the labor charge to pay the electrician to fix it. Therefore, you have to connect it at this point. There's a video that I've already demonstrated on how to connect a kitchen cooker. When it comes to the instant shower circuit, it is important for you to also consider a 4.0 mm cable. Why? Because in many cases you'll find that this instant shower head will draw a lot of current simply because it is also a heater. When it comes to the manufacturer's directive, you find that for this type, which is a Lorenzetti, the circuit breaker is 25 ampere and the cables are 4.0 mm squared or 10 AWG. Why is that important? Because this one is a load, and in fact a heavy load. So the size of the cable that is connected to it, my top boss, matters a lot so that it can withstand the amount of current that is drawn from the circuit. In many cases, you find that people decide to use a 2.5 mm for an instant shower. That is very wrong. Assuming that in future this customer upgrades the shower to a bigger one or one that draws a lot of current, it means that that cable will start overheating if at all the person that will be fixing that instant shower does not consider the size of the cable. When it comes to lighting, my top boss, you can either use a 1.5 or a 1.0 mm square cable because lights normally don't draw a lot of current. Do not use the wrong cables for lighting simply because it is a lighting circuit. Just like the name goes, my top boss, light doesn't really mean it is light. So I had to do that. You have to really use a cable that is meant for lighting. Some people go to a very bad extent of using speaker wire for lighting. That is very bad. And that is why the electrical codes exist to guard the customer against such people who have very bad intentions when it comes to electrical installation. When it comes to the light, of course, it has its own circuit from the consumer unit, goes all the way to the lightings as well as to the switches. This ensures that that independent circuit draws its own current from the consumer unit. Now, my top boss, when it comes to the socket, the current flows all the way from the consumer unit, as you can see, goes all the way to the first socket as well as to the other socket, considering that this one is either a radio or a ring circuit. The size of the cable of this circuit is at 2.5 mm square. Why is it 2.5? Because you'll find that the appliances connected to the sockets do not draw a lot of current, and therefore the size is 2.5, and this can simply carry or withstand the current that is drawn by these appliances, such as a radio, a TV, a charger. Name those, will be able to operate well with a circuit. When it comes to the mains, we have 10 mm. Why should we consider 10 mm? Because at the point where we are connecting this cable from the source, which is the distribution board or the meter box, we have this point whereby it drops at the consumer unit. Now, it is very important for you to note that it may drop to the consumer unit as a single circuit that is feeding the consumer unit, but just have a look at the multiple circuits that are connected from the consumer unit. Assuming that all of these loads will be on at the same time, it definitely means that the cable that is supplying power has to be of a bigger size than any of the cables connected in there. Why? So that it can be able to withstand the amount of current that is being drawn without overheating. Now, as I said, resistance is a big factor when it comes to electrical installation. If electricians, homeowners, business owners, or developers don't factor in the aspect of resistance, it means that the electrical installation will have a lot of issues and cause them troubles. This definitely means that the installation will require several maintenance activities. Now, my top boss, as a conclusion on this video today, I have a question for you. Do you think the size of the circuit breaker should be the one to determine the size of the cable? Or does the size of the cable determine the size of the circuit breaker? Or does the load connected to that circuit the one to determine the size of the circuit breaker? In a nutshell, the size of the circuit breaker and the size of the cable that is connected to it have anything in common? Or is the size of the appliance to be connected to that specific circuit the one to determine the size of the MCB as well as the size of the cable? Top boss, let me know that in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't for more videos such as this one. Thank you so much, my top boss. I really salute you. My name is John Gatehi, and this is Top Heights Electricals and Electricians.